and that they actually took out gas and they literally burned this cabin down and intentionally waited till they knew for sure he wasn't alive to go in to even attempt to put the fire out, then yeah, there should be charges, and these people, as emotionally charged as this situation was, need to be dealt with. They need to face legal consequences if that's what happened. But ladies and gentlemen, Chris Dorner is not a hero. Heroes don't go around killing innocent people. And I don't care. I don't have to go on CNN to know better than that. I don't have to be a Fox News contributor. I don't have to be an MSNBC news contributor. Not that CNN or MSNBC would ever have me on their shows. I don't have to be some hoity-toity professional journalist in order to know that a hero doesn't go around killing innocent people. A hero is someone that saves innocent people, is someone who takes action when others won't, even in fear. Someone who strives to do the right thing even when the right thing is the hardest thing. Police officers are heroes. Firefighters are heroes. Nurses are heroes. Teachers are heroes. Some more heroic than others. But even the worst cop on the beat still takes his own life into his hands every time he steps out of a precinct house wearing his uniform, because he's got a job to do. And in the process of doing that job, he is in danger. He is a target. Most of us get a sense of dread when we see a police car pull in behind us when we're going down the road. And it's not because we're doing anything wrong. It's because we're afraid that they'll catch us doing something we didn't realize we did. Most of us have our interactions with police officers at times that are not the best of times. So a lot of us have these negative impressions of police officers when they're doing their jobs. But that's what they're doing, and their job is to serve and protect. And that's what most of them try to do. For every bad cop, there's 5 good cops. The problem is you only hear about the bad. In fact, there's probably 10 good cops for every bad cop, if not more. Police are there to protect the average citizen as best they can, and also to solve crimes. And that's part of the whole essence of the gun control debate from the side of those of us who understand that firearms are for personal protection. And that is, police officer is always at best minutes away. Worst case scenario, many minutes away. And that's under the prime best circumstances possible. Best case scenario. But it doesn't mean they're not doing their job. They have a hard job. They have a tough job, and they don't get enough respect. And we have a media and Hollywood culture that has done almost everything you can imagine to give a black eye to these people who literally risk their lives every single day for very little reward. They are the heroes. Now, when they mess up, when they do something wrong, there's obviously police officers who should not be police officers. There's no question about that. There's no doubt. And if any of those people were present at the burning of the cabin, if they're responsible for this, and if they chose this route to treat this man, then there should be legal ramifications for those individuals. But to assume that this was an intentional murder of this guy to further cover up some conspiracy that this guy had imagined, then that's a bit much, because I could very easily see being overwrought emotionally after everything, especially if one of those cops that had been killed, or if that girl that was killed at the beginning, if I knew them or if I was related to them, I would be so freaking jacked up. I wouldn't want to burn him down. I would want to go in and get him. There's a reason why there's very few cop killers that make it to trial. And that is because they are a fraternal order, and these people take it seriously when you attack one of their own. As well they should, but so should the rest of us. Because they're not just police officers, ladies and gentlemen, they're part of the community of humanity too. We have got to start taking it seriously that mental illness is a far bigger problem in our society than the availability of firearms. I have taken to the point now where I literally start screaming at people when they call semi-automatic weapons assault weapons. Do we need them for hunting? Can we use them for this, that, the other? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Second Amendment guarantees us the right to have them. There's already reasonable restrictions on actual assault weapons, and that's fine. I'm okay with the average citizen not having access to fully automatic weapons. Most fully automatic weapons in the hands of untrained civilians are pretty much ineffective and unuseful as a weapon of any kind anyway. There's still a plethora of misunderstanding, but it just continues to point out media bias and how the media is passively censoring what they're reporting to us. I mean, it's not any different than this week's past State of the Union address. I'll be honest, I didn't even watch it this year. Most years I do. I didn't even watch it. I decided I didn't want to. I couldn't stand it. It was only going to turn my stomach anyway. I knew what was coming, and I wasn't wrong. What I did is I went back later and I read the transcript, unedited transcript, the way it was, and then I went back and watched the video of the responses, and there was several official responses, but Marco Rubio's response garnered a lot of attention. Why? Nobody wanted to talk about what Mark was saying. Marco Rubio gave one of the best speeches that I've heard in a while as far as actually conveying the true points of conservatism. He explained it in a very Reagan-esque way. Certainly the best explanations from conservative values and conservative viewpoints on the issues that I've heard since Reagan. But what does the media want to focus on? Oh, not that he did a great job, not that he's a minority, not that he's a Republican, no, although they talked about that. They wanted to go on and on and on about the fact that he took a sip of water in the middle of the speech. One person I heard that's an extreme leftist actually got it. I find myself in a very unusual position of agreeing with Van Jones about something. And Van Jones called it, and he's right. Marco Rubio is dangerous for the Democratic Party. He's going to be able to do something that Allen West wasn't able to do, what countless other minority members of the Republican Party who have risen up, including Condoleezza Rice and a few others that I can't think of right offhand by name. But he's going to be able to do, if he's allowed to stay in the public eye, what they couldn't, and that is prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can be a minority and you can be successful based solely on your own effort. You don't need special consideration. He's going to be able to convince Hispanics that they should be voting Republican and they should be part of the Republican Party to begin with. Why? Because most Hispanic families are extremely conservative-based, conservative-minded, and family-oriented. They don't like divorce. They don't like abortion. They don't like a lot of these crazy concepts that the left's constantly trying to not only push down our throats now, but trying to force people into. He's going to be able to express this. Van Jones got it. He says he is dangerous to the Democratic Party. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If the Republican Party can straighten its act up and embrace its true conservative leanings, the real conservative parts of the platform that it should have from the beginning, instead of having this white guilt crapola and the blue blood Republicans that have been running the party for decades, the establishment Republicans, as some like to call them, rhinos, I like to call them, because even though they are mainstays and blue bloods and a big part of why the party has the funds it has, they're as so-called progressive as a lot of people on the left are. The concepts of social justice means just the opposite. Dorner is not a hero. He's not a superhero. He's not even a sane man. Was this a person who was sane at one time? I hope so, since he wore a badge and had a gun. Was he pushed to these desperate acts by a corrupt LAPD? I hope not. But something happened. There was a disconnect somewhere. I find it extremely ironic that somebody who was so flowery in his language in this open letter towards gun control decided that that was the best way for him to solve his problems. I mean, if nothing else, if the guy wasn't a complete lunatic, then at best, he's a violent hypocrite and a criminal. No matter how else you cut this, and no matter what else you want to say about it, you do not, in any type of civilized society, start killing innocent people to make a point. That's terrorism. That is the definition of terrorism. I'm going to go get these people. This isn't a Hollywood movie. I don't know what all these secret little storylines playing behind the scenes are, and I doubt that I will ever know. I doubt that any of us will ever know. I doubt that he knew, because something tells me this guy was hearing voices by the time he got up into that cabin. Now, I did find it extremely odd that he managed to stay on the loose as long as he did. Was he really that good? Or was somebody hoping that we could get this big crescendo? And is there a conspiracy content to this? I've heard plenty of them, and I'm sure most of you probably have too. And like I've said before, I refuse to discount the conspiracy theories just at face value. But that doesn't mean that I believe any of them. What I believe is that the media got it wrong on this, just like the media got it wrong on Marco Rubio taking a sip of water. I mean, you even had Wolf Blitzer saying, can it cost him his political career? He took a sip of water during his speech. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is tonight's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back and listen again soon. Good night, everybody.